Hello, today we are presenting Public Doctor, and as the name might suggest, it's an app related to health. This app will ask questions to the users and will identify if the user has any physical or psychological problems. After this, the app will recommend customers, depending on their location, any pharmacies and specialists like hospitals nearby. And also, if they pay a fee, they will be able to access video calls with actual doctors, which is something totally unique. However, now let's move on and talk a little bit about business. So first of all, who is going to be our target market? Well, our target market is going to be, to say like this, the mass market, which means basically everyone that owns a smartphone. However, right now it's only going to be for iOS users, but in the next couple of months when we launch on Android, more people will be able to access it. The SWOT analysis is something really important also. We can start talking about the strength. For example, we have a really strong database where customers can store the data, and when they visit the doctor, they can just simply show the doctors can simply see the data, which is something really good. And most importantly, something totally unique is the fact that customers will be able to save their prescriptions on their phone, which is something really good and convenient. Next, let's move on to the weaknesses, which basically is that there's a lot of competition, and especially one app that has really similar characteristics as us. Then we can move to the opportunity, which is that there's literally no other app in the world that have both physical and psychological help. Like, there's no other app in the world that offers that. And lastly, threats, which simply are like changes in regulation regarding medical assessment. Maybe in the future the government changes laws and we cannot give like assessment to users. Lastly, let's talk about profitability. So the app will be the main stream of income will be through partnerships with specialists and pharmacies, and also we will incorporate ads in the app for those users that don't pay any fees.
Due to health awareness and population aging, it is a massive market for this kind of application. Many mobile device users want to have an opportunity to check their health issues without leaving the house, and Pocket Doctor makes it possible. Our survey showed that over 70% of people are willing to use a health diagnosis app in terms of contact with a doctor, and almost 90% would use it for minor symptoms. The other survey options have proven that the proposed application is an excellent and promising idea. Our application allows for using a personal database and build a patient's medical record history. When the user will decide to have an appointment, the specialist will be allowed to check patient information, add new, and give the prescription. All this data can be stored for further usage. We are also planning to implement a website which includes the necessary information about Pocket Doctor. Option to see video presenting and describing how our app works and also tag consist potential for cooperation as well as partnership information. To spread and popularize Pocket Doctor, we are planning to use a few forms of advertising. Firstly, by word of mouth, with our friends in university as well as outside, plus families. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or other social media could also be vital to promote and advertise our product. We are also planning to prepare flyers to send them to various places, but especially to pharmacies and healthcare institutions, which are places associated with our potential customers as well as business partners.
Let's talk about our platform analysis. Through extensive research and discussion between our team members, we've decided to initially make our app on Apple devices. One of the main reasons for this is because Apple is described as a closed ecosystem. This basically means that entrance to the Apple ecosystem is restricted and is only allowed on supported devices. And although this means that we'll only have access to the features to design our app that Apple has provided us with, which is the programming language Swift and the IDE, famous IDE known as Xcode, all these features are really extensive and there are a lot of them, so we'll be able to get a decent design of our application. However, Android does have a generally higher market share when it comes to mobile phone usage, where Android is at 70.91% and Apple is at 27.95%. The use of their operating system in the United Kingdom is pretty much about the same, and in December 2018, Apple was actually higher than Android, with Apple being at 52.06% and Android being at 47.05%, as you can see on the graph to my right hand side. One other reason that we've decided to make our app initially on iOS is that iOS users are predicted to pay more than Android users for mobile apps. This is because the distribution of free versus paid apps on both app stores are very different, as you see on the graph to my right hand side. The majority of apps downloaded on Apple or iOS devices are higher on the paid side than Android, with Apple apps being paid for on iOS are 73% and apps being paid for on Android are 43%. So all these factors have led us to the conclusion that it would be better for our application if we made it first on iOS and then later on moved on to Android.
After some research and discussion between our group members, we have realized that the majority of the people that will be using our app are iPhone users. So we have decided to create the app first for iPhone. Then in case of success, we will also create the app for Android. For the creation of our app, we will be using 4 programming languages: HTML5, CSS, JavaScript, and Swift. First, we are looking into creating a video that will guide the users on how to use the app. And to add that video to the app, we will be using an HTML5 feature called YouTube. And here we can see the code that we'll be using to be able to add that feature. In the CSS part, we'll be using CSS because CSS will help us in describing the representation of the HTML5, which means the HTML5 will be formatted according to and represented according to the style sheet. As we can see here, we can add a background and we can do the alignment using CSS. With the jQuery, which is a library from JavaScript, it will help us in handling the animation for the CSS. This is how the HTML YouTube feature will look like inside the app.
So now I'm going to be moving on to the design of the app and the user interface. So I'm going to run you through how the app would work. So when the user first downloads the app, they'll see this screen. With this screen, they can choose to add Face ID to make the app more secure, because obviously it's going to have some private information about them, medications and conditions and stuff like that. So once they unlock that, they then go to this screen where it comes to the diagnosis part of the app. So with this bit, you can select where you are feeling the symptoms or where your concern is. So let's say there's an issue with your chest. You click on the chest, and then you can see here that I've ticked the 3 issues that I'm having. So cough longer than 3 weeks, chest pain, shortness of breath. When I hit next, it's going to tell me what the sort of thing I need to do is. So it's saying that my condition is a cause for concern. So it's got the actions that I should take here and the most likely condition there. If I need to call emergency services, I can call it directly from the app. So the next part of the app is the psychological and mental health part of the app. So it will ask you how you're feeling. And then you can select how you feel. So I'm going to go with anxious, and then if you hit next, you can actually go into a chat with someone, a professional, and they will give you tips on how to cope with your anxious feelings. So you can see here that they've given me a breathing exercise to do, so I'm going to hit start on that, and then this bit will give me a breathing exercise I can do. The next part of the app is the appointments part. So this is where you can book in your appointments for a video call with a professional. So you can select your date and time. As previously mentioned, this would be if you're paying the fee for the app. And then on your settings, this is where your medical details are. So it's got information about your age, any conditions that you've got, who to contact in case of an emergency, and your allergies. You can also add in any medications you've got, medical history, and all that sort of stuff.